Recently, a viewer sent me a message on Instagram asking whether or not I could do a video about the best way to do your CBT or something to that effect. Now, what they meant is that they had a really bad experience with a CBT instructor and it's damaged their confidence no end. And funny enough, my wife had the exact same experience with a CBT instructor that she had. So for those of you that don't know, here in the UK, in order to start riding motorcycles, you have to do what's known as Compulsory Basic Training, which is known as or otherwise known as a CBT. And that basically entitles you to ride up to a 125cc motorcycle if you are over 17 years old. If you are 16 years old, then it entitles you to ride a scooter, 50cc scooter. But unfortunately, you don't really have a lot of time in one day because the CBT takes place basically across just one day. That's it. I say one day, it's probably not even 8 hours long. And in that time, they have to teach you bits of the highway code, they have to go through some drills with you, they have to go through some techniques and things like that, and the rain is just about started. Woohoo! But yeah, they have to go through techniques in an enclosed environment, a controlled environment, then they have to take you out on the road and make sure that you are safe to ride on public roads. There's no exam or anything like that, it's just a training day. But they will decide whether or not on the day if you are safe enough to ride a motorcycle or not. So they are basically the gatekeepers, so to speak. And they will give you either give you the CBT or they won't. Alright. Now it is in their best interest to give you the CBT to make sure that everyone passes. But the issue with the whole CBT structure is that there is not enough time in a day to teach someone everything they need to know, and for the most part people are going to be going into it without having a clue about how a motorcycle runs and how it operates. And you know, you ask these questions, or you try to ask questions, you try to learn, and you try to understand, because like most of us, you're a complete beginner and you've got no idea what you're doing, so you think that the CBT instructors will be more than happy to help you with any questions that you might have. But that is not the case. For the most part, it seems to be that a lot of CBT instructors just expect you, or expect everyone to know how to ride a motorcycle. The only difference is they want to, you need to get a certificate to say that you are safe enough to ride a motorcycle, which is kind of stupid. Their job is to teach you how to ride a motorcycle, teach you the basics. But they really don't. They'll show you once, twice, maybe 3 times, and that is it. And for a lot of people, it's really disheartening because they, you know, I mean, at least if I was in that situation, I think to myself, bloody hell, I'm supposed to know all this, I'm supposed to get all this in the space of a couple of hours and just do it. I expect to be shown once or twice, 3 times, and that's it. That's all the instruction I get, and then they expect you to be able to go out onto a public road nice and safely. Okay. Well, this is just my opinion here, alright, but I didn't do my CBT on a 125cc motorcycle. I actually did my CBT on a scooter. I was 16 years old at the time, and so that's the only option that I had. But to be perfectly honest with you, because the CBT lasts 2 years, so if you're 16 and you're turning 17, well, of course, that automatically allows you to ride a 125cc motorcycle as soon as you turn 17. So that's pretty much what I did. I bought myself a motorcycle and taught myself how to ride it. Now this was in the early years of YouTube and all that stuff, so there wasn't exactly a lot of information out there. I mean, when I was doing this, I think it was 2007, 2006. So there wasn't a lot of information out there about how to ride bikes, and I do apologise for all the rain. I'm going to be wiping the lens every once in a while, but that for me is the best way, because even though you expect these instructors to teach you how to ride the bike and things like that, there's a lot of really good information, a lot of fantastic resources out there that can show you how to ride a motorcycle in your own time. So instead of having to do it all within the space of an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, well, instead you've got all the time in the world to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So for me, if it's just a case of getting through the hoop, that gatekeeping procedure, the red tape, just do it on a scooter. It's significantly easier to understand. All you have to do is just turn the scooter on, twist your right hand, and the bike goes. Just get your CBT, then get yourself a motorcycle, a 125cc motorcycle, and learn how to ride it there and then. Okay? It is something you can learn on your own. You don't need someone to help you, but I understand that it's one of those things where it would be nice if you had someone to show you all the ins and outs and how the machine operates and things like that. But go ahead and watch our how to ride a motorcycle video. It's one of our first videos that we ever released on this channel. Maybe it's due an update now, I'm not sure. Let me know if it's something that you guys would like to see. But definitely go and check that one out so you're really clued up on how a motorcycle is supposed to operate, at least changing gears, using the clutch, using the throttle, things like that. And ideally, get the bike delivered to your home. I know that can be a bit of a nightmare and it might cost you a little bit of money, but if you buy it from a dealership, most dealerships should offer delivery. So get it delivered to your home, and you don't have to worry about getting it home. But if you have a van or access to a van or a trailer, something like that, then of course go ahead, use that trailer and take it home. Don't try and ride the bike whilst you're there on the on the lot. All right, well, at the dealership, trying to get it in gear and stuff, installing and all that. Don't put yourself through that. Don't put yourself under that pressure. The whole idea of what I'm trying to say in today's video is that you're trying to take as much of that pressure off as possible. So you're giving yourself as much time as you need to learn how to ride the bike. And once you've got it, you'll be absolutely fine. And it should only take you a day, maybe two, to learn how these bikes operate and understand how they work. But give yourself that time to practice even if it's just on your street, just somewhere where you don't have to worry about anyone who's pushing you to go out onto the road and things like that, all that bureaucratic nonsense. All right, just make sure that you give yourself that time to practice. Give yourself that time to gain a little bit of confidence, and then go out in your local area slowly, gently. All right, slowly get further and further away, do a nice little small route around your area, then do a slightly bigger one each time until you are fully clued up and you're confident enough to basically go anywhere on the 125. That is the best advice that I can give you, and that is from my own personal experience. Okay, I mean, I don't know if these motorcycle instructors would be prepared to do some kind of one-to-one tuition. Maybe if you ask them to do a little bit of one-on-one with you, maybe that's another good way as well. But of course they'll charge you for it, you'll have to pay for it. But it really depends on how confident you are or what have you. But self-teaching yourself to ride a motorcycle is not as daunting as it might look on the face of it. I mean, if anything, actually, you could even buy a motorcycle before you've even done your CBT. Of course, you've got to get it transported and everything like that. But start learning how to ride the bike before you even do your CBT. So start on your street or in a parking area or something like that, and start learning the basics, the ins and outs of how to ride the bike. Start getting that information from YouTube and other good resources like ours. There's loads of information, loads of fantastic resources out there when it comes to how to ride motorcycles. And find a content creator that you trust as well. Hopefully it's us, but if it's not us, find a content creator that you trust and just watch their videos and study them. More often than not, they'll have a video about how to ride motorcycles. Go ahead and watch that, study that, get yourself as clued up as possible, but well before the CBT date even happens. And then you don't have to worry about the basics of riding a bike. Instead, you can focus more on the things that the CBT instructors are actually there to teach you, and that is the maneuvers, that's like emergency braking, and teaching you the ins and outs of how to ride properly on a street. So that's another way that you could go about doing it. You can either buy the motorcycle after you've done your CBT on a scooter, or buy a motorcycle beforehand, get yourself a little bit of experience and knowledge on how the bike operates, get yourself a little bit of practice on some parking area or some quiet area where you can learn how the clutch works, how the gears work, how the throttle works and everything like that, and then do your CBT so they can teach you all the stuff that is important when it comes to riding on the street. And the thing is, CBT instructors, I don't think it's CBT instructors' fault a lot of the time. It's because they've got to get through a syllabus and they've got to get through it as quickly as they can in a day. And arguably that's not enough time. So for the most part, CBT instructors, as much as they probably want to help people as much as they can, they simply don't have the time to do it. But, you know, it is what it is here in the UK. I mean, personally, I don't think you should have to get a CBT to start riding 125cc bikes or to get started in motorcycles. A lot of it you can either teach yourself, or instead of doing a CBT, instead maybe offer some kind of training for people that really haven't got a clue. But there isn't really a syllabus involved. It's more of a case of learning how the motorcycle works, or getting taught how the motorcycle works, and then the CBT instructor can take questions and answer questions and show you things if you're not quite sure, and just spend the whole day just practicing. And that's what it should be, really. But unfortunately, it's a bit more bureaucratic than that. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a limit to the amount of students a motorcycle instructor can have any one time for a CBT. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't know. But something that isn't necessarily all that structured, and something that maybe can even be done over a couple of days if it absolutely needed to. I don't know. It's difficult, but you honestly don't need to do a CBT to learn how to ride a motorcycle, in my humble opinion. I did it myself, so if I can do it, the vast majority of you lot can certainly learn how to ride a bike on your own, and that's what I'd recommend. Either get a bike first, learn how it runs before you do a CBT, or do your CBT on a scooter, and then go ahead and buy a motorcycle afterwards on that same CBT, and give yourself as much time as you need to practice and learn how to ride the motorcycle. Hopefully the lens is doing alright today, otherwise I'm going to have to come out again and shoot this at some other point. Alright everyone, I mean, that's pretty much it. That is my advice, and it is just my opinion. Some people might value CBT instructors a lot more than I do, or at least the CBT process. They might value that a hell of a lot more than I do. You know, it's personal preference really, but for me, if I'm unconfident and I need time to practice, I don't really want to be time boxed into practicing within a certain amount of time and then, you know, just be thrown out into the big world of of traffic without being 100% confident that I'm going to be alright, and it can be done a bit more progressively than the one day that, or I say one day, 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours that a CBT would offer you. But I don't know, if it's something that you're worried about, that you're nervous about, you've heard bad things, or maybe like my wife, you had a negative experience doing your CBT, then take that advice and do a lot of it, or as much of it as possible yourselves, and you'll feel a lot better for it. Okay, now there are some really good CBT instructors out there. The second one that my wife had was really good. She was really happy, but at the same time, by that point she'd been riding for 2 years, and she basically already knew how to ride a motorcycle, so it was just a case of going through the motions to get her CBT again. And well, for those of you that don't know, a CBT expires after 2 years, so unless you get your full motorcycle license within those 2 years, then you have to redo your CBT if you want to continue riding bikes. But so it's really difficult, and getting confidence is one of those things that is perhaps the most difficult part of the process when it comes to learning how to ride a motorcycle, is getting that initial confidence. And the problem is, a lot of CBT instructors don't give you the time to gather that confidence. They just go ahead and teach you a few things and expect you to be able to do it, and then take you out onto the road. And it's all an attitude thing, you know. It's all very negative. If you can't get it first time or in the first couple of times, wherever it is they're trying to show you, whether that's pulling away on the bike or doing some kind of maneuver or something like that before they take you out onto the road, it's very negative. That's a very negative attitude that I've, at least in my experience, in my wife's experience, and clearly a few of you have had that same experience as well. So don't put yourself under that pressure. Just get that CBT. It's bureaucratic nonsense at the end of the day. Just go ahead, get that CBT done, and then give yourself as much time as you need to actually learn how to ride the bike properly. But I mean, there you have it, everyone. I think first people's experiences on a motorcycle don't have to be something bureaucratic. They don't have to be something that is organised and dictated to by a government. I think people should be able to learn how to ride a motorcycle without having to get some kind of qualification or something like that. And it should be, I don't know, much less restrictive than it is today, in my humble opinion. But look, I'm just one guy with one opinion. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below, as always, and you know, maybe we can improve the motorcycle qualification process in the near future. Recently we did a video on pretty much why a motorcycle license doesn't really qualify you to ride motorcycles anyway, and it's the same old thing, isn't it? It's like, it doesn't really matter how many qualifications you have. If you don't have that experience under your belt, then it's not going to make you an amazing, perfect rider anyway. So the first thing for me is to get that experience. 100%, you need that experience before you can start getting that confidence, and before you can start progressing, rather than having to put people through some bureaucratic qualification first before they start getting that experience. I don't know, it's a little bit backwards in my opinion, but you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and let me know how you went about doing your CBT and your motorcycle license training and all that, because I mean, back in the day, in the 90s, maybe a bit earlier than that, maybe the 80s, get your motorcycle license was a case of just showing up and they gave you a license. Today it's much stricter and it's much more difficult. But you guys let me know in the comment section down below what you think and what your thought process would be if you were a modern day beginner rider, and how you'd go about getting your CBT and your motorcycle license down in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, go ahead, leave that like, hit that subscribe button as well, and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos going forward. And we'll catch you all in the next video, everyone. Take care, ride safe.